Welcome back, guys. This is Tyler, and today we're going to be working on making a Cydia repository using GitHub on Windows. I can almost say we're kind of using Windows. We're not actually utilizing the system of Windows. We're going to be utilizing a virtual machine without actually needing to use anything like VirtualBox, Parallels, VMware, anything like that. We're actually going to be utilizing nitrous.io. But before I get into that, I want to talk about some of the other alternatives to that. But before we do anything else, make sure you head on over to github.com, sign up for a free account, and then verify your email. As soon as you're done that, we can go ahead and you can go ahead and get started with signing up for nitrous.io if that's what you choose to do. Okay, so like I said, there are three choices here that we have, and I went with nitrous.io for one particular reason. I think you might agree that this might be a good idea, but we'll see. So with Cloud9, though, for a free account, you get 512 megabytes of RAM and 1 gigabyte of disk space. This is what your virtual machine is going to be holding, or this is the specs on your virtual machine. So I kind of felt that that wasn't that much. 1 gigabyte of space really isn't that much, especially if some people have some themes that are big, or they have some stuff that is big. That could probably fill up quickly. So the second alternative was coding.com. Great interface. I very much like the interface, but unfortunately, you only get about 1.5 gigabytes of space, but it does run very quickly. So if you decide to go with this does run very quickly. I know it says 3 gigabytes of storage here, but really, once you get the VM installed on the 3 gigabyte of storage space, you're only left with about 1.5 gigabytes. But you do get the full 1 gigabyte of RAM as far as I can see. Then lastly, with Nitrous, the one that we're going to be using for the starter kit with that is free, you get one container, which is going to hold our Ubuntu, our virtual machine that we can log into and use the terminal with. We're going to have 1 gigabyte of memory and 5 gigabytes of storage, and you're actually going to have all 5 gigabytes of storage, and I can show you that later, that you do have those 5 gigabytes of storage. It's not like it's 5 gigabytes and then take away some space. It actually gives you the 5 gigabytes. So with that being said, go ahead and now that you are signed up for GitHub, go ahead and sign up for a Nitrous account, and just press Get Started. And I believe you might be able to sign in with your GitHub account if you'd like. Otherwise, just sign up with a normal account. And yeah, so we'll work on getting started and creating a Ubuntu container. After you do that, you'll be greeted with getting a container set up, and I will jump into that here in a moment. So once you sign up, I believe it'll take you right to this page where it asks you immediately to create a new container. So as you can see, you have a whole bunch of options here that we can create. So the basic template we want to go with is Ubuntu, since that's what we want to use. That'll give us terminal access, and yeah. So go ahead and click Ubuntu. You can give it a name. We're just going to stick with Ubuntu for simplicity's sake, and then click Next. Choose the area you live in and create a workspace name. I'm going to call it Cydia Repo. Since I live on the East Coast, I'm going to choose the East Coast, and then I am going to choose Starter Plan. And then click on Create. And it'll work on creating the repository or the workspace, and it'll probably take a few minutes. It doesn't usually go right away, so I'm just going to cut into the IDE. Either you'll be greeted with the IDE right away upon starting this up, or you'll have to click on Open IDE once if a window pops up right after this. So either way, you'll be greeted with an IDE, and I will cut to that now. So once you're in your IDE, you should be greeted with the README right away. And we're just going to go ahead and get a few things set up. As you can see down here at the bottom, you have your terminal window, and that's exactly what we're going to get set up together and whatnot, because There's just some things that I like to do that make the workflow a little bit easier. So the first thing we want to do is we want to actually change the default shell. Right now, as you can see, it's ZSH. We want it to use bash. So we're going to do this in a little bit of a cheaty way, since we don't have actual permissions like root permissions, I don't believe. Yeah, since it's a passwordless root access on the sudo command, in order to change shells, you have to, I think you need a password for that. So we're going to do this in a little bit of a cheaty way, simply by saying emacs dot zshrc, and what we're going to do is open that up, and at the top we are going to just add bash, and then you can do control X or control XS, control C. Or if you don't want to do it that way, you can go up here, click on this, show hidden files, click on .zshrc, and then put bash at the top, and then do control S to save the file. And then once you have that done, go ahead and type exit, and it's just going to exit out of that. Close that terminal tab and open a new one, and it's going to open up bash for you. So once it opens up bash, the other thing we want to do, just to make things a little easier on ourselves, let's go over here and let's change this to shell script, just so we have some colors. We want to change this prompt here, and I'm just going to add this in as a comment. This is what our prompt is going to be set up as, so this is just, just a little bit of a tip. You don't have to change this if you don't want to. I just find it easier for myself to understand and see what I'm doing. So just type in your username, whatever, you can do your username, you can do your name, whatever you want to do. You can leave a little bit of that information there if you want. But personally, I like to do this. So do /W and then do the $sign. The $sign just lets us know that we're kind of using a bash shell. And then, at the bottom, what we're going to want to add to is alias, and this is just going to make clearing the screen a little bit easier when we're using the terminal window. Alias C equals, and then double quotes clear, and then go ahead and just save that by doing control S, and then you can close out of that. And then you're gonna once again exit out of this, and then you're gonna want to type bash, and you should see your new terminal prompt. So you got your name, you got what directory you're in, and so as you can see, if I cd into code, you can see that it is telling us from the home directory where we're at. So yeah, we're good to go there. Next thing we want to do is we want to set up Git. Since Git is already installed for us, we don't have to do that, and the dpkg manager is already installed, so we don't have to do anything with that. But we do need to set some things up with Git. So you want to do git config -- global user.name, and then it's going to be your username. So for me, it's going to be superpose. And then you're going to want to do git config -- global, and then user.email, and then in quotes you're going to do your email. So just put your email in there, and you'll be good to go. The next thing we'll do then is we're going to set up some SSH keys, and I will jump to that here in a second. So once you add your email, and make sure you put that ending quote in there, you're good to go with the global setup. The next thing we want to do, like I said, is we want to set up some SSH keys, just to make it a little easier on ourselves, so we don't have to keep putting our username and password in every time we want to commit changes and push them to GitHub. So what we want to do is we want to come over to this link and just follow the steps and start with step 2 in generating a new SSH key. Just go down through, run everything that starts with a $sign. That's just your prompt, and just follow through this. It's pretty much self-explanatory. And then the spot I want to highlight is step 4. Make sure that you are using the all method, not Linux or Windows. Otherwise, you're going to get problems when you get down to adding your SSH key to your account. So make sure you use the all method. So with this, you can just open this file, which will be located here, the .ssh rs. Just open this file, the ID underscore rsa.pub, copy the contents of that, and then put that in where it says to put it in, and then continue down on, test the connection, make sure you successfully authenticated, and then you're good to go. But if you get access denied, just read these instructions on diagnosing the issue, and hopefully you can get that squared away. So now we'll go ahead and we will hop into creating the repository itself. So as you go along and set up the SSH keys, you may realize that you can't actually copy and paste things over into the terminal down here. At least I can't. I don't know about you guys. But so what I did is I just made a new file simply by clicking the new file button here, and then just copying and pasting these over, and then just typing them down here one by one. It shouldn't take you too long. It took me about 4 minutes to do there. So with that being said, let's actually go ahead and start making the repo. So I'm not going to save that, and I'm going to close that. And in here, we're going to want to make a new folder called, it's going to be your username. Actually, no, you're not going to want to create that. You're going to want to make a GitHub folder, and then what we want to do is we want to go on over to GitHub and create the new repository. So go up here and right or click on this and create a new repository. As mine loads, I think GitHub is being slow today still. It's been doing this on my Mac and my PC. So type in your username.github.io. You can add any description you want. So I can say Cydia example repository, and then initialize this with a README. So create the repo. Yours might go a little bit faster than this. Terribly sorry about the lag that is going on today. And then you want to come over here and you want to clone you want to say SSH clone URL. Make sure you click on SSH. Yours might be on HTTPS by default. Just click on SSH, copy that to the clipboard, and then go back over here and go ahead and copy that into a text file. Because like I said, you can't actually copy commands in. So you want to say git clone, and then git at github.com colon your username, not mine, slash your username .github.io.git, and then hit enter, and that'll clone that in there. And you should see a folder in here now that says your username.github.io, and we actually want to move that into the GitHub folder. So once you have that done, you can cd into GitHub / superpose or your username.github.io, and we can go ahead and get started by adding a hello world index.html file. So go ahead and say echo hello world, and don't put any exclamation point, otherwise you're going to have a problem there, and then index.html. And then what I want to talk about is I want to talk about 3 very important commands. They're the following. It's git add -- all, which is going to add all the changes that you made to the repository, and it's just adding them all so that they can be pushed. And you want to say git commit -m, and then what are you committing? It's a description of what exactly you're pushing to the repo. So I can say added index.html, just like that. Like I said, you can make this, put it in the quotations, whatever description you want. So then it's going to say create an index.html, and then you want to say git push. So then you're good to go. So then you can clear the screen, and from here we will continue on by creating the folders and creating all the other necessary files. So before we create those folders, let's go over to our repository and just check to make sure that the index.html file is actually there and got pushed correctly. So go ahead and refresh your repo, and you should see in a second that your index.html page is in fact there. Again, GitHub is being slow, and I apologize. And there it is. So there's our index.html file, and if you actually go into it, which I'm not going to because of how slow GitHub is being, you'll see that it says hello world. And actually, if you visit Superpose, or your username, not my name, if you visit your repo, your username.github.io, just confirm that it says hello world, or whatever you typed in there. It should load just fine then. Mine seems to be lagging on and on and on today, but there it is. So now that we have that done, let me open that back up for later. We want to come back over here and we want to create some folders. So hit your drop down there and let's create these folders. So add a new folder, and let's call it projects, or you can call it whatever you want. This is just going to hold your projects really, and it's going to hold folders within it, so I figure it's appropriately named. And these projects are going to be non-Theos projects, nothing that at least makes tweaks. So yeah, so inside your folder here, you also want to create a folder called debs, which is going to hold your Debian files. And then create another folder inside of projects, and this is going to be your first project. So name this whatever you'd like. I'm going to name mine Infiniloader because that is the theme that I am putting onto my repo. So inside of that, we're going to add another folder called Debian, all capital letters, and also inside of Infiniloader, not inside of Debian, we want to add a folder called library with a capital L. And then inside of library, we want to create a folder called themes with a capital T. So we'll talk about these shortly and what each of these mean and whatnot, and what's going to go into some of these. But for now, let's go back into this, and let's create a new file called release. And inside release, you're going to have a few things, and make sure release doesn't have any .txt at the end. We aren't going to add any extension to it. It's just called release. So let me bring up my Atom page, and over here, let me just copy some of this content over into here. So let me go ahead and go over some of these, or each of these I should say. Your origin is going to be what is seen in the Cydia repository list. So when you're looking at the list of repositories, this is the name that's going to be seen. With label, it's what you're going to see when you're looking at a package and it says from, and then this is the label it's going to say. And then description, once you go inside a package on Cydia, this is what's going to be seen at the bottom of the page. It'll say whatever you put there. You can make the description kind of as long as you'd like, and it should show it. So, but for everything else, make the suite stable, the version 1.0. You can change the version of whatever number you'd like, but 1.0 just seems appropriate. And then the code name is iOS, architecture is iPhone OS-ARM, and then components is main. So just kind of leave these alone. Put this in, and then once again save that. So we can go ahead and close that. Close index.html, and I'm just going to close this untitled file here. Next thing you want to do is go ahead and make a project, or go ahead and go into your Debian folder and create a new file there and call it control. So then open control, and then you want to add in the following things. Not exactly what I'm adding in, but you're going to want to make it your own. So the package is going to be typically com dot and then your username dot and then package name. That's the basic template I would say for this. So I'm not going to leave that there, otherwise it's actually going to show that as the package name. But so for mine, it's com.superpose with my username .infiniloader. That's the package name. And then the name is your package name. This is what you're going to actually see in like the changes section. So when you're fresh and you see your changes, this is what you'll see. Or when you're searching for a repo, this is what you're searching for is the name. So since we're creating a Winterboard theme, it depends on Winterboard, and Winterboard's package name, like this, is just Winterboard. It doesn't have it's not com.sarek.winterboard, it's just Winterboard. So it depends on Winterboard, and if your file or if your package depends on anything else, just put a comma after that and add the other things it depends on. So yeah, so the version, you can make kind of whatever you want. I figure it's appropriate to just say 1.0. If you're in a very, very early stages of your development, you can say 0.0.1, and you can even add alpha behind that if you want. You can change that to beta later too. It'll read that and it'll show that in your package information. Leave the architecture as iPhone OS-ARM. The description, describe what are we looking at. You know what the description is supposed to mean. The maintainer and author is you. You don't have to put an email address, but if you do put an email address, put it between the less than and greater than brackets. That just ensures that it's actually read and it's actually seen. And then section is themes under Springboard. So for section, just go ahead and look at like Mod My Eyes sections and see what does your package fit under. So mine fits under themes, more in particular Springboard themes. So once you have that all set up, go ahead and save that, and then we're going to close that file. And now get your theme ready and make sure you have it on your computer, and we're going to go ahead and copy that in there. I do not believe I have that on this computer, so let me just go ahead and copy that over, and I will bring that back up here in a second for you. So before we go ahead and actually add in your theme, I just want to briefly mention this site. This is Sarek's site that he wrote, I believe, after creating Cydia. It says a few months ago I introduced Cydia. So I just want to put this out there. This gives you more information about what should be in a control file right here, and tells you information about each of the things that go into the control file. And then as you scroll down, you can see what goes into a release file. It actually says repository metadata, and you want to just scan over this information if you want to, and you should be good to go. So now we can go back over here and we can actually add our theme in. But before we do that, unfortunately, you can't just add in a folder. You can only upload files. So what we need to do is we actually need to add the folder of the theme. So just type that in. Just type in, for me, it's going to be infiniloader.theme. And then what we want to do is we want to add a new folder. And inside of that, it's going to be UI images. And then now what we can do is we can click on upload files to UI images, find your folder, and we can go here and we can just drag this folder and it'll find all the images inside of UI images, and then click on upload, and it'll just take a couple seconds here to process that, and then the load bar should pop up and that will go through just fine. So the next thing what we want to do is we want to actually just real quick, we want to push these up to our GitHub account. So by doing git add all, the three very important commands that I stated earlier as I spell add wrong. actually you want to make sure you're in the right directory first. So cd into GitHub. I don't know if mine pushed me out of there. Cd into code slash GitHub slash your username if you aren't there already, and then go ahead and add all of those changes. Commit them by adding added theme, and then it'll tell you all that you created and all that you're adding, and you can say git push, and then it may ask you this. So what you want to do is you want to just type in your passphrase for that SSH key that we had used earlier, and then just hit enter and clear the screen, and you should be good to go there. So go ahead and go on over to your repo and just verify that the information is there, that your theme is in fact there, and then you should be good to go with that. The next thing we want to do is we want to create 4 scripting files. They are the following. So let's go ahead and we can go back in here, create a new file inside of your main folder, inside of your username.github.io folder, and we're going to call this remove.sh. And then inside of remove.sh, we want to add the hashbang line, or shebang as some people know it. This is just a it's an interpreter directive that just allows scripts and data files to be used as system commands. So it's just telling, it's basically just saying, hey, this is a bash script, see it as that and use it as that. So if you want to, you can actually change this to shell script, which I think it automatically recognizes. So that's fantastic. What we want to do in remove is we want to say find debs. So find the folder debs and look inside of there for the type F, which is just a regular type file, with the name of starting with anything and ending in deb. So we want to find all the regular files that end in deb, and then we want to delete them. And then what you want to do is you want to say rm-r and then packages.bzip2, so bz2, and then go ahead and save that file. The rm-r is just deleting the packages.bzip2 file, which we will be creating with another script. So the next thing we want to do is we want to add a new file and call it packages.sh. And with packages.sh, we want to go ahead and open that up. We want to add our hashbang line, which just tells it where is bash located, once again, and it's just that interpreter directive. And then we want to add dpkg-bzgzip, and then projects / the project name. For me, it's Infiniloader, and then debs. So the general template is dpkg-deb, and then the -b is just saying let's build a Debian file. The capital Z gzip is just saying we're forcing the data inside of the data file inside of this. When you actually open up the Debian file, you should see a data.xz file. It's not going to say data.xz. There's something in between there, I think. But you're going to see a file that ends in .gz and a file that ends in .xz. We want to force both of those files to end in .gz. And then what you want to say is you want to say projects, or whatever the name of the folder that's holding your projects, / project name, just like that. And then where is this Debian supposed to go? So the output folder. So if it would help you, you can actually go ahead and scroll to the front, add the pound symbol, and that's just going to make it a comment. So if that helps you remember for later, what am I supposed to add in? There you go. That should be good to go then. And then just save that file by doing Control-S, and you can go ahead and close it. So the next thing we want to do is we want to add a new file in here. We have 2 more shell scripts to add. Call this push.sh. Again, open that up, add your hashbang line. So bin /bash. And then what we want to do is we want to say dpkg -scan packages. So it's going to scan the folder debs. So we're going to say /debs. It's going to scan that folder for packages for Debian files, and then output that into a file called packages. No extension on packages. And then what we want to do is we want to say bzip 2 -fks packages. What FKS does is it's an option, and F forces the overwrite of the output file. So it's forcing to overwrite, it's either packages, the file packages, or packages.bzip2. I'm not quite sure off the top of my head. If it overwrites bzip2, then it's almost unnecessary for us to actually remove the bzip2 file in our remove script. So I'm unsure about that, but I know that I just have it in there and it works perfectly fine. The K option doesn't delete the packages file, it keeps it because we do need that in our repository as well. And then the S just reduces the memory usage for compression and decompression with use for the bzip2 file. So the last thing we want to do, and once you save that, you can go ahead and close that. The last file we want to make is a file called update.sh. So with update, you want to go ahead and open that up, and then we want to say /, actually you want to add your hashbang line and do bin/bash, and you want to say /remove.sh, and then you want to call packages.sh, and then you want to say /push.sh, and then go ahead and save that file. So we're going to remove all of the Debian files, and we're going to remove the packages.bzip2 file. Then we're going to actually go ahead and we're going to create the Debian files. And then what we want to do is we want to scan for the packages in the debs folder, and we want to add information about that to the packages file. And yeah, so that'll create our packages file and packages.bzip2. So once you have that done and saved, you can close out of that. Next, what we want to do is we want to make them all executable. So what we can do is we want to say chmod +x, and then do packages.sh semicolon, which acts like a new line, then chmod +x push.sh semicolon, chmod +x, let's see, remove.sh, and then final one, chmod +x update.sh, and just run that command and it should go through perfectly fine. So once you have that done, you can run /update.sh. You can start typing /up and then hit tab and it'll autocomplete. Let's see, there's a problem near line 8. Okay, so if we have a problem like that, let's go into our projects folder, Debian control, problem near line 8. I'm not sure I understand what the problem is. Let's just I'll get rid of my email address and see if that fixes the problem. And then save the file, and then close, and then run /update again. Oh, I see what the problem is. Terribly sorry. I am missing a new line. So just enter a new line and just hit save. So make sure you put a new line at the end of each one of those. So go ahead and do that again. It'll just give you a warning with each of these. That's fine. Just make sure it says wrote one entry to output package and it actually built your package. So you can verify that it was built, and it is right there. There's your Debian file. And then the last thing you should check on is the packages file. So you can see here, this is the information about our packages. or about our package. When you add another package, it'll just add that information right below here. So you'll just see a big wall of text like this with different information about your package right below there. So you can see this is where the file is located, the size, section. So yeah, you are good to go with that. So the last thing we want to do is just commit those changes. So git add all, git commit -m, and then we can say added infiniloader. And you can see that we added packages.bzip2 and all that, and we also added those shell files. And then you can say git push, and you may have to enter your SSH key again there, but that shouldn't be a problem. So last thing to do really is just try to go ahead and add your repo to Cydia. Just your repo will end up being your username .github.io, so it's going to be http:// your username.github.io. Add that. It should go through perfectly fine. Then to verify that everything's working okay, you will want to try to install your package, and if it installs just fine and you can see your Winterboard theme, then you're all set to go. You can just keep adding packages just like I showed you previously, and make sure you add that to the packages.sh script file right here. Just make sure you keep adding each package that you add underneath of this, so add it on a new line. And then you're all set. You've made a Cydia repository. For the next tutorial, you'll actually, if you want to continue seeing more updates about this, you'll want to check out the tutorial 3 for how to create a Cydia repository using GitHub on Mac, and it'll be the 3rd tutorial. You're just going to treat it the same on Windows, except you're going to be using Nitrous, and then you're going to be utilizing the terminal here. So that's the only difference. And in that tutorial, we're going to be looking at creating a source icon for Cydia, so you can actually have an icon for your repo. We're going to put in depictions, and then we're going to be making your HTML page that you see when you go to your username.github.io page. We're going to make that look a little bit nicer, just to have kind of a basic template in there, and maybe even add a button if I find out how to actually bring you to the page, to the source page. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you liked it, make sure to leave a like below, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.